Hi everyone, and thank you for joining in our final TinyTalk TED Talks session. Now, as I mentioned right at the start of the week here, this is the second edition of these, and you can find the first lot over on our YouTube channel at TinyTalk Kent Downs if you fancy learning more about the different elements of TinyTalk baby signing. We covered those a couple of years ago when we first ran our TED Talks. This week it's been all about our question signs, and our question sign today's TinyTalk TED Talk is brought to you by Why. And I guess the why sign is just perfect for toddlers, isn't it? They're always asking, why this, why that? So it's a really good one to use. However, it is one that babies quite often don't really have much concept of. But I can tell you lots about why choose TinyTalk today. Obviously, you've learned about it over the last few days when we've been listening to these TED Talks. It's such a great way to support your child's development first and foremost. So a great educational tool for children to express themselves way before they're able to talk. It gives them a real firm foundation in how two-way communication works. Now, we always make sure that we say the word at the same time as making the sign, and that way children are tying in what they hear, what they see you do with your hands, what happens with your mouth and the sounds that you make when you communicate as well. And as with everything, when a child is learning something, they'll learn by copying what you do. So we've got to say the word at the same time as making the sign. And as I said, it's a great way to support your child's communication skills. Our signing babies have such a massive vocabulary. Now, you know, when you do that kind of, I think it's like a 1 year check, isn't it? Or a 2 year check, and children have to have a certain amount of words under their belt at that point. Well, actually, our signing babies generally have got way more than that because they are used to using a wide amount of vocabulary in their day-to-day lives, and it may not be that they can say them all, particularly say them clearly as you and I would say words, but they understand the meaning and they can express that concept by using their hands, which is why it's such a valuable tool there. Obviously, it's not just educational, it's lots and lots of fun as well, and that's fun for parents and caregivers, not just for the babies. Yes, you know, there's lots of musical instruments and lots of singing and dancing and moving around and having fun, but actually grown-ups just love being part of that and seeing the joy in their child's faces. It makes it fun for caregivers as well. Quite a lot of the time our parents kind of say, you know, my kid's getting a bit big, but I really want to still keep coming. And it's like, oh, I have to borrow a baby and come along anyway. But that's why we've got our toddler classes, so you can keep coming even if your baby's getting a bit big for our baby classes now. We're not the kind that will kind of kick people out either when they get to a certain age. So all the time it's convenient for you to come, and as long as everyone's still safe and happy, then you're very welcome to join us, as long as you're able to. Most parents kind of come until their circumstances change, to be honest, when you go back to work, or you know, when you know, your family circumstances change and you need to move on to a new chapter. It is a really friendly community, and I think that's what I absolutely loved about TinyTalk when I first had my baby. I didn't really have any friends in that area who had children too, and I did feel quite isolated, and that was, you know, just a kind of regular year for having a baby. Imagine what that was like kind of in lockdown or just after lockdown. The need for community and contact there is so vital for a new parent, and we provide that in our classes because we give you a chance to sit down and talk to other adults. We make sure we know your name and know about you, and you are as valuable to us as your child is in terms of being part of our community. So you can sit down, have a cup of tea, chat, eat a biscuit. Babies are playing safely and making friends as well. So for you to feel connected and not isolated in those, I say early months, early years of being a new parent, it's a challenging time, isn't it? And having other people you can draw on to kind of help you and support you through those challenges is really, really helpful. So obviously it's not just kind of useful and helpful and fun and friendly, but what is just absolutely brilliant is that it gives you a little insight into what babies are thinking. I'm pointing at Ted here because he's my baby, for the purposes of my classes. So it lets you know what they're thinking. When your child kind of signs, you know, what's that noise? And you're like, oh, it's a bird. Out in the garden, you know, you might have had no idea that he'd even spotted the bird, but he's able to tell you all about it and express curiosity about it. Quite often our parents report to us, they've been in the supermarket and a child's signing pig, and you're like, what do you want about? There's no pig in the supermarket. And then you spot like a little Percy pig on the sweet packet or whatever. Children are so observant and have all of this awareness going on around them. They just can't let you know about it unless they can use their hands. So it gives you a great insight into what they find useful and important, as well as them a tool to express themselves. I really like actually babies' first signs. When they first start using signs, I think the ones that are important to them tend to come out quickly. So it may be that it's food signs, maybe your child's a real foodie and just wants to tell you that, they need their milk, or, they want a biscuit or whatever it might be. Other babies are just all about animals, it's all about, we a dog, mad about dogs. I had a little boy recently who was just really into chickens and just spent ages like chicken, which is just ace. So, each child is wired differently and has different things that excite them and different levels of stimulation on different subjects. So for them to be able to just let you know, like, I'm loving this is what I find exciting, is just such a great tool. And then you can feed off that and give them more of it. So that is why using baby signs is just absolutely vital, in my opinion, to a parenting relationship. If you're curious about it and you've never even thought about it before, then come and check out one of our classes. We've got a new term starting in September. And we've got classes here in the Kent area, right across the county in different places. If you can't get to an in-person session, then there's some online activity going on. We've got a YouTube channel with loads of resources that are all free that you can check out. There's some taster sessions up there, so if you want to check out what the sessions are like before you get involved and before you commit to coming, then please do go and enjoy those. There's loads of kind of content on our YouTube pages, our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, get involved and come along and see what TinyTalk baby signing can do for you and your family. I'm sure I've said this at some point during the week, but I'm not quite sure how people parent without it. It's such a useful tool, but before you know it, it kind of becomes second nature. And once you start getting that feedback from your child and your child starts using it as well, it's just absolutely priceless. So that's why I think baby signing is where you guys need to be as parents with little kids. So come check it out. Massive thank you for listening this week. If you've missed any of the sessions, they will all be on our YouTube channel, or you can scroll back down the Facebook feed if you're patient. But check out the previous sessions if you want to, as well as the ones that we did a couple of years ago when we did our first edition of TinyTalk TED Talks. Thanks very much for being with us. Take care. Bye bye.